it comes to Khoisan, was probably a slip of the tongue, that there hasn't been a lot of research about the specific area and ecological awareness. But there's of course your predecessor, June, who's written a book last year, which precisely makes this point, and if you're interested, you should definitely read it. It's a great read. It's called Alcy Told Me Why Cape Her Historiographies Matter. And she makes precisely that point, right, based on ethnographic research and historical research in Rondevlei, that there's this continuity with pre-colonial ways of dealing with the environment, that if you know where to look for them, they're still there. So, but the question that I wanted to say is that, wanted to ask, as you know, Yvette, I've been talking to activists in the city for 7 years now almost, Khoisan activists, if you can call them like that. And I know people at the moment that are for it and against it. And I wanted to ask the people, in terms of reaching out to the other side, what would you think could help to convince them maybe to join your campaign, or could you understand where they are coming from, however misguided you might think it is? I don't know, I'm not here to judge anybody, but because they think there are jobs in this. One person said to me that has stuck with me all the years is she said, who's going to eat from a heritage site? So anyways, I just wanted to get your reaction on that.
So before you respond, can I just repeat for Geronimo and Nick, so that the point was made that there has been some research by June Bum, who's published a book, Alcy Told Me, The Stories of Women, that does address some of this, but the question he's asked, Yvette, is what would we say to people who are Khoi activists who sided with the development, who believe that jobs are for instance, really important and justify what's going on?
Thank you, Raphael. And of course, you're absolutely right. I mean, June has documented this extensively for the Rondevlei area. When I said nobody's written about this, what I mean is for both the US and for Australia, we literally get almost gardening monographs. Who cut what? Who burnt what? We don't have that level of detailed study for the Western Cape. Although I hope you sitting hears me and gives me a fat researcher. So that, but absolutely, I definitely recommend June's book. Great read. Sorry, remind me the second question again.
What would you say to?
What would I say? Well, I'm obviously in a very false position because I ate today. And so I'm not necessarily in a position to tell people who didn't eat today what to do. What I would say is that we do not have a calculation of the number of jobs that would be created by alternate uses. And that's my biggest problem with the EIA. The developer says, I'm creating X amount of jobs. Okay, but if we put a solar power plant there, how many jobs would we create? I mean, obviously, if we have a 1 in 20-year flood, then we're going to create lots of jobs, So surely one sits down and one looks at all the different alternatives, and then not just jobs, but also is it decent jobs? What kind of, are they sustainable jobs? People might have jobs building the place, but are their grandchildren going to have work, or food, or a climate? So I think, in the renewable energy movement, we have very specific definitions around what constitutes decent work, none of which exists on that building site. And I just think it's a shame that people are so hungry that they're going to be prepared to take any job. So that's why I've also advocated it's not enough to say no to that particular Amazon headquarters. We also have to be very clear what's the positive alternative. What are we saying yes to? Because then we can have an educated discussion around how to move from here.
So just for those, for Nick and Geronimo, so that